I don't care how many tickets the 49ers fans buy. You can be in Jacksonville or Everbank Field. But what you can't be is from Duval. Y'all gonna know the difference. We'll tell you about it in just a second on Locked On Jaguars.
You are Locked On Jaguars, your daily Jacksonville Jaguars podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Top of the morning, and shout out to you for joining me here on Locked On Jaguars. I'm Tony Wiggins, the host of the Locked On Jaguars podcast, where it's your team every day. And we thank you for making us your first listen. A quick reminder that we're also free to subscribe to on our YouTube page that is Locked On Jaguars. Make sure you tap in, hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the bell so you receive notifications each and every time we drop an episode. And if you're riding around in your car and you listen to audio podcasts, whatever platform that is, make sure you tap in every day so you don't miss a show. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use code all lowercase Locked On NFL for a deposit match up to $100. And shout out to the everydayers that join the show every single day. You can be an everydayer too. All you got to do is join the show every single day. What's going on? What's happening? Time for a big game after a bye week against the 49ers of San Francisco. Team from the Bay Area is coming into Jacksonville along with a bunch of their fans that bought tickets on the aftermarket. And now it leads to the conversation of, see, I told you y'all don't sell tickets. So we'll get into why the fans are getting a bad rap for everything, including like half the stadium being full of visitors. And some of that is culpable on the fans, and some of it is something else, and I'll tell you what it is. We'll talk about those ticket sales to the visitors in segment 2, how that all comes about, what goes on with it, and why the goodness of the city is one of the reasons that happens. Yeah, you heard me correctly. The goodness of the city is one of the reasons that happens, and then why it'll all play out favorably in the end, and it'll be much ado about nothing, and something that folks will just continue to talk about for no reason. But we're going to do it today, right? We're going to try to make sense of it for everybody here. Jaguars expecting a full crowd at Everbank Field, Sunday for the game against the 49ers. So I got a theory, right? First of all of those people are not coming from San Francisco. Some of those people live right here in Jacksonville, and some of those people live in the vicinity. When you play a team like that, they have fans everywhere. When I was a kid, I had family members that were 49er fans because they're front runners, and the 49ers won all the time in the 80s, right? And then they had a spell in the 90s where they won, and even the 2010s where they went to 3 straight NFC championships. So there's a lot of history there, right? So don't think that if you look up and 30,000 people or 35,000 people are in Jacksonville this Sunday, that they all left San Francisco, because that's not true. That's just not the way the NFL works. But that's the way it'll seem, and that's the way it'll seem like it plays out. Nobody ever talks about the 5,000 Jaguar fans or the 4,000 Jaguar fans that go to other games and make a bunch of noise and always gain the respect of the local fan base wherever they are. Not so much for the people that come here, because they come here thinking, they believe in those narratives that they hear from the national folks like Danny Cannell, who I'll address here in just a second, that say things about the fans that just flat out aren't true. Fans have not scored 1 touchdown, gotten 1 penalty, 1 first down, made 1 tackle, 1 block, or 1 call since the mid-90s when this team was here. They just haven't. All they've done is continue to show up and show out in their top 12, I believe, in attendance and tickets sold. All they've done is continue to be boisterous, loud, and show up and show out and cheer on a team that has only been in the playoffs like 5 or 6 times in 26, 27 years. Why do I give them a lot of credit for doing that? Because I'm a kid from the concrete jungle of Washington, D.C. and Jacksonville, mainly Jacksonville. But a lot of my formative years were spent in DC and what we call the concrete jungle inner city. And then here in Jacksonville, low income housing, no family car. Walking to the grocery store with a shopping cart, pushing all the groceries back only to hit a bump on the sidewalk and all of them spilled over and everybody laughing. And have to load them up and keep going home. So you know what that built? It built character. It made me understand that people will point at and laugh at anything that they don't get and don't understand. And I don't think a lot of people get and understand the Jaguars. I happen to think that I don't think that I'm better than anybody, but I do think those experiences and still being faithful and still loving other people and have a passion for other people and not getting down and feeling sorry for myself and not knowing that I was actually poor have helped me now that I'm older and I'm doing a lot better. How has it helped me? Well, it's because I knew what I came through and I really, really did love my surroundings. I do love my people. I love the upbringing I had, some of the best lessons I ever had. And see, the Jaguar fans are the same way. When you're faithful to a team that, for the most part, has failed miserably at giving you something to be happy about, but yet and still, you're still there and happy, just like the team's fans that have won Super Bowls and championships. It hits differently when someone like Danny Cannell from the outside talks about fan support and talks about fandom and talks about the team going to London when the city and the owner of said team are about to spend about $3 billion on a stadium and the surrounding areas and a Four Seasons hotel across the street from the stadium and an entire retail area. And some of the surrounding neighborhoods are going to benefit from that trickle down also. And then to hear someone who sits on a national platform and says they're moving to London and they don't have the fan support, well, it pisses people off because it comes across as severely misinformed, taking narratives from 5 and 6 years ago and making them relevant today only because you didn't do your research and did not understand exactly what's going on in this city. The Jaguar fans, I would argue that it's easy to love something that loves you back all the time the way that you want it to. I would say the Jacksonville Jaguar fans are some of the best in the business only because of what they persevered through. Now, I know somebody out there and they'll probably go, oh, mumbo jumbo wig, that's, you're being all super live. And no. Anybody who knows me knows I don't lean one way or the other. But what I do is I do appreciate folks that have been faithful when they haven't had reasons on the surface to be that way. And so what I think the people that talk crap about Jacksonville, guess what? They're jealous. And I'll tell you why. It's because they don't see. It's almost like you not necessarily being the most handsome guy in the world, right? Which I know nothing about. I'm good, right? I think so anyway. But then again, everywhere you go, everybody likes you. All 10s. They're surrounding you like bees to honey. And this dude that's this metrosexual guy that manicures his nails 3 times a week, make sure he doesn't have one stitch, always checking that one hair is not out of place, can't understand why somebody likes you. Can't understand it. And from my experience, what I've told people over the years is you ain't supposed to understand it because if you did, you probably like me too. And I don't want you to. So my thing is just because you don't understand something doesn't mean that everyone else is out of step. And see, so when Danny Cannell doesn't understand why Jaguar fans are, what he's saying is because of how inept the team is being, you're not supposed to still be in love with your team, but y'all still are. So it's fake or it's not real or you guys are delusional and then the goalpost moves from, okay, you're like the worst fans ever to where you're not a top half of the league. You're not a top 10 fan base. Well, we changed that real quick, didn't we? The bottom line is stop talking about stuff that you don't know about. Please, especially from miles and miles away when you've never set foot in here and you've never talked to people that played here. You want to talk about when you came here, the one time you came on a visit, how quiet the stadium was. Yeah, because they stunk. All right. But the fans were still there. And the ones that wasn't there was in some swimming pools because it was 90 degrees outside, probably in October or November, or in one of the sports bars making the best of the situation. And you know nothing about the reason why the team goes to London every year. Because when they did that, it was 11% of their total revenue for the entire season, just that one game. And then everybody wanted to do it. And the Jags said, no, we were first. So we're going to keep doing it. And in order, the league capitalized on the fact that the Jaguars did it first and early. And so what happened was they started saying, okay, we're going to use you guys on an away game and we're going to do it there. And then there was the restrictions around the stadium at that time of the season. The stadium is multi-purpose use. It's always good for the Jaguars to be away for about 3 to 4 weeks consecutive, including the bye week. But that's something else too that somebody like Danny Cannell wouldn't know. I want to talk about these ticket sales because I know somebody's going to bring that up and it's going to be quoted all over the place in the next 2 days. And why the 49ers are going to be, they might have more tickets to the game than Jaguar fans. I'm going to tell you why the Jaguar fans don't have nothing to do with that either. For the most part, a little bit they do. But I'm going to talk about all of that stuff, man. We're going to air this out once and for all and get rid of some of these narratives that have been painted. I'm going to tell you why you shouldn't even be paying too much attention to it. But since we got to address it, we'll address it because that's what we do. We don't run from anything here on Locked On Jaguars. We won't run from that either. And we'll get to that here in the second segment of Locked On Jaguars in just a second after I first tell you guys about today's sponsor, which is PrizePicks. Man, PrizePicks is the absolute truth. Won yesterday. I caught me a little NBA action and got me $300 on a $30 wager, and you can do the same thing. It is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you pick more than or less than 2 to 6 stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Now I hit a 5 out of 5, $30, 10 times over, $300. Thank you very much. PrizePicks. All right. So go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use the code LockedOnNFL, all lower caps, for a first deposit match up to $100. I'll say it again. Go to prizepicks.com. The promo code LockedOnNFL, all lower caps. Make sure you use the promo code to make sure that you get 100. That's right. $100 on your first deposit match. It's prizepicks.com. Make sure you check it out. All right, I want to hit you up and let you know about today's sponsor, which is Jase Medical. I got stuck in Mexico last year around this time. I think it's the anniversary of it. It was right in the middle of hurricane season, right? And I didn't have enough of my daily meds that I have to take for the rest of my life. I did not have enough of them, and I was out of the country. And then I got a little sick, and I needed an antibiotic. If I'd have got a Jase case from Jase Medical, I wouldn't have had those issues because I would have been well taken care of, man. Jase Medical provides you the opportunity to buy a personalized Jase case of emergency medication. It's a kit that contains 5 essential antibiotics that treat the most common and deadly bacterial infections. I'm telling you, man, it is invaluable, especially you live in an area where there are storms basically every single year, and you really, really have to watch out to make sure that you have all of the medication that you need. That's right, Jase case, man. Make sure you tap into Jase Medical and get you a Jase case. It is absolutely very, very important that you're able to do that. Go to jasemedical.com and enter the code Locked On at checkout for a $20 discount on your order. That's promo code Locked On at Jase, Jase medical.com. Make sure you use the promo code. All right, we're going to run it down here on Locked On Jaguars segment 2, talking about the fans, telling people to get off my lawn, man, get off my grass, leave my fans alone, leave the Jaguar fans alone, because you blame them for stuff they have absolutely nothing to do. I can tell you now something that's going to come up is I heard that the 49ers may have over 50% of the fan capacity wearing those white and red jerseys or the red and white jerseys, whatever color that is. Like, I ain't got nothing against the 49ers. In fact, I always said that the 49ers and the Raiders had the best uniforms. So I guess God has a sense of humor. He's going to put a whole bunch of 49er fans in Jacksonville. That's fine. Let them come on. Because I'm going to tell you how it happened. A part of it is Jacksonville Jaguar season ticket holders, for one reason or another, upcharging and selling their premium seats. I get it, but I don't. The team is good. You bought the ticket. You can do what you want to do. I'm not counting other people's money. I'm not saying who's gotten to a situation. Somebody might have been like me and been out of work at one of their jobs for a while and they need some bread. I get it, kind of. But I don't think that's the biggest part of this. I think it's probably the most aggravating part of this. And it probably could swing the pendulum back towards Jaguar fans having more of the majority. I think they still will have the more of the majority of the fans Sunday, but I think there'll be a lot of 49er fans. I also think this is the issue of the companies buying up big blocks of tickets when they become available. I can't be mad at the Jaguars either because that's pretty much, I mean, it's business. And the other part of that is there's nothing stopping Jaguar fans who want to go to the game from being the ones that go and buy those tickets from those brokers or those aftermarket people. So that's that comes with the territory. And as we say in the hood, charge it to the game. That is what it is, right? But a lot of that is what it is. I'll tell you why it's that way too. I think Miami might have the same issue. Tampa might have the same issue. Maybe not to this extent. Where do you want to go in November or December? And like I already told you, all of those 49er fans ain't coming from California, because if somebody goes, well, California has nice weather too. I just told you at the beginning that all of those fans don't come from California. They're from all over the place. A lot of them come from cold weather places. It's a destination. I can look out my window right now. It's like 81 degrees outside at 9 o'clock in the morning on November 10th, right? Yeah. That's why people want to come to Jacksonville. This is exactly why folks want to come to Jacksonville for these late games. The Jaguars always have a lot more games in the second half of the season. I just said also, I mentioned this is why we do this. 3 or 4 weeks in October, the Jags are not going to be here. And of course, they're not going to play all of their games at home in September. So if they're gone for 3 or 4 weeks, and if we assume that one of those is a bye week and one of them is a home game that's allotted to London, that'll tell you that they're going to spend a lot of time here in November and December, right? And I think people, especially, I'm not worried about when they play a bad team. You don't see a whole bunch of fans. The only time you see a whole bunch of fans is when they play Buffalo, the Giants, teams that have a long-standing tradition, or teams that live in a lot of cold weather places that want to come here, and they plan those trips early, very early. If folks are naive to think that when you see 25,000 Steeler fans waving terrible towers on the road, that all of those people left Pittsburgh and jumped on a plane and flew. That's not true. Those folks come from every place. I see folks all the time in Jacksonville with 49er stuff all over their car. So don't assume and don't let anyone, and it's a quick rebuttal to any argument because of all the stuff that's been talked about Jaguar fans this week. Sunday, when folks start taking a picture saying that they're taking over the stadium and this is what Danny Cannell and other people are talking about, just politely tell them, no, that's not true. They have to come and see. I think one Jaguar fan is equal to 4 other fans anyway. You can be in the stadium. You can be in the city. I can take you to get a steak and a sack. I can take you down and get some Mayport shrimp. I can get you a garlic crab tray. I can do all of the things that Jacksonville is known for. But if you ain't Duval, you ain't Duval. I don't care how many tickets you buy. You're not going to outdo those fans. Those fans are going to show up and show out this weekend. So that's what I mean, almost mean by you got to be here. You got to be here. It's like you got 100 dudes, right? And y'all think y'all can fight. And y'all got baseball bats. And y'all going to beat up this crew of 15 guys. But nobody told you all the 15 guys are for Special Forces, Navy SEALs guys. You think you're going to win? Nah, you're not. And that stadium is going to be owned by the Jaguars fans, and I think they're going to show up and they're going to show out. Why it won't matter at the end of the day, why none of it will matter, I'll tell you all about that in just a second. First, I have to let you know that football season is here and Locked On is kicking up our coverage with Locked On NFL Kickoff Live. Each Friday, like today, Locked On will go live at 2 p.m. Eastern on every Locked On NFL YouTube channel. Host Tanitra Baptiste, Jarvis Davis, and Kyle Krabs will break down every game on the NFL slate to get you ready for your team's matchup, your fantasy lineups, your betting angles, and more. Plus, get the in-depth local analysis from our stable of NFL hosts across the country who know these teams better than anyone else. Find Locked On NFL live every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on any Locked On NFL YouTube. We'll be here in just a second to tell you exactly why, at the end of the day, none of it. I think somebody made a song called Nothing Even Matters. None of the stuff that people have been talking about all week even matters. And it won't matter in the end. And I'll tell you why in just a second here on Locked On Jaguars. But first, I have to let you know about today's sponsor, which is BetterHelp. Man, if you have been in a situation where you need therapy and you are thinking about therapy, there's no place better, in my opinion, than BetterHelp. I've used BetterHelp, gone through a divorce, gone through all kinds of stuff, family stuff, grief management. And I'm telling you, I've really, really benefited from it, and you can do the same thing. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOn today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOn for 10% off your first month. Now, you can it's over the phone, it's over the internet. You can talk and find out if you have the right person that you're working with. If not, you can switch therapists. And I'm telling you, man, if you're considering therapy, it is really, really the way to go. So BetterHelp, HELP.com. Make sure you use the promo code Locked On to get 10% off your first month. Okay, man. So look, thank you for joining us, making us your first listen. Everybody wants to know, why won't it matter at the end of the day? Well, people are going to talk, right? So if you ain't got no haters, you ain't popping. I said that earlier this week. But why it all play out favorably? Because, as I said at the beginning of the show, fans don't get a first down. Fans don't. I'm not saying that playing at home doesn't energize the team, right? This is more like, even when you have a lot of visiting fans, it would be, if you just do a body count, it's more like a neutral site. But if you have 10,000 Jaguar fans and 30,000 fans of somebody else, it's still going to be a Jaguar stadium because they're on a different frequency. They're on a different vibe. And if you don't know, you just don't know. That's why it's good to put 10 toes down on something and really, really walk the path that you're speaking on. And I don't think too many people that speak negatively about the Jaguars' presence at games or whatever, I don't think they've been to games, because I know who goes to games. I see people that go to games. I see people in the press box that frequent Jacksonville. And I never hear them say anything about the fans, ever. Because it's too easy to blame people that don't do what you do. How about this? You're a former player and you stunk. You know what it's like to not be good. Why don't you just blame it on one of your peers? They're just like us. We weren't very good when I played, and it's kind of what you get when you're not very good. And you didn't even get that from Jaguars fans. No, because if anybody that was here that wasn't very good, most of them are still heroes in this city when they retire, and they stay here with their families. They do that for a reason, man. They do that for a reason. And everybody wants to learn this chat that was started in the hood, Duval, and not really know what it means to be Duval. There are a lot of people that's not from the hood that say Duval. They know exactly what it means because they're ingratiated with the community and they interact with everybody in the community. And the players that come here, they start saying it and they know what it means. They know what it means to people to be Jacksonville. Now, some of it in some other areas runs a little bit amok, but we're still working on that. That's family business. I ain't going to talk about that with y'all if you're not from Jacksonville. But I am telling you, there's something special about the group of people that have been faithful to this football team, even when they haven't had a lot to be faithful about. And I give a salute to those folks. I'm one of them. My family is one of them. The reason why I moved back to Jacksonville is when they got this team. It was a dream come true. To me, a football team not being in Jacksonville was sort of like a high school and college basketball not being in Indiana and North Carolina. Yeah, that's the way I felt about it. And I knew the people because I'm one of them. And I knew what would happen. And I was sitting in the DMV because I had been a fan of the Washington franchise my entire life because Jacksonville didn't have one. And I'm sitting in the house that I shared with my mom at the time. And I had told her, I said, if they get this team awarded to them, this is like 1995. If they get this team awarded, I'm going back home. I'm going back home. And I'm taking all of this maroon and gold off, and I'm putting on that teal and black, and I'm gonna be a Jaguar fan because that's my home. That's where I was born. That's where at that point I had spent half my life, but now it's 3/4 or 2/3 of my life because I came back home. And I realized something. It'll all play out. Everything will play out from being an expansion team that went to 2 AFC championships in the first 5 years of his existence, maybe the first 4 years. And I was just like, success came really, really quick, and then it fleeted and went away. I don't want to pop in and out every now and then. I want to sustain success. Now with Doug Peterson and Trevor Lawrence, I think there's a chance to have sustained success. And I think the people that have always doubted this city got to find something to pick at. They have to really, really do find something to pick at. At the end of the day, fans don't block, they don't tackle, they don't do any of that stuff. What they do is extremely important, but it's all after the fact. You either cheering or booing something that you already saw. Now that what you're seeing is a better product, the less likely that you're going to boo and you're going to cheer more anyway. Jaguar fans aren't like it's not like unlike anybody else. When a product isn't good, they're going to cheer less. When the product is good, they're going to cheer more. That's just what it is. So at the end of the day, all of the stuff that people say about you, don't worry about it because those who are real know. We know why the ticket sales are the way they are and why such a big allotment goes to the visitors. We don't necessarily have to like it. We know exactly that the fans of this team haven't had a lot to cheer about, but still here they stand. They're still standing here, and they're doing that without a 100 or 75-year tradition or without ever having anything to really cheer about. They're just cheering because you know what? That's our team, and this is how we are. And a whole bunch of people that don't understand that kind of love and loyalty, those are the ones that always make comments. And to us, you are irrelevant. But we will slap box with you every now and then and give you what you asked for. So shout out to everybody who wanted some attention because you got it. But now it's a time for business, and I think the Jaguars win Sunday, and they shut a lot of people up. And I want the fans that will show up at the stadium to be loud. I'm still debating if I can do all that walking from the media parking lot all the way to the stadium, but I'm going to give it a try. All right, man, you guys make sure you have a nice weekend. Make sure you take care of each other. I bury my sister-in-law tomorrow. So heavy hearts for us as a family, but because of you all and because of so many other people, me and my family have really, really done a good job of making sure we celebrate her life and not be very, very sad. So thank you for your contributions to that and all your well wishes. Until next time, man, you guys make sure you do what I say. Take care of you, and we'll see you here on Locked On Jaguar.
You are Locked On